What up, Scaccia Fam? Thank you so much for tuning in this week. I'm sure you can tell by the sound of my voice that I have been hit with a very bad cold this week, and I tried before getting in front of the camera to see if any vocals could come out of this body that sounded somewhat pleasing to the ears, and it was not the case. And I'm sorry, I love the Scaccia Fam too much to make their ears bleed like that. But right now, I am very much like Mariah Carey during her Rainbow era. A decent tone, no range. Boy, don't you know you can't escape me. Ooh, darling, 'cause you'll always be my baby. See, I can't go any higher than that, though. That's the problem. No, it's not happening. So I thought that this week's video would be a really great opportunity for me to show you what I do when I am sick to help alleviate my symptoms a little bit. And this is mainly home remedies or just over the counter. I try to avoid prescription medication whenever I can. However, if you suspect you have a bacterial infection, go to the doctor and get a prescription, absolutely. But in a case like this where it's just the common cold and you need to get better soon, this is kind of what I have relied on my whole musical career. Obviously, I use this stuff very much so because I'm a singer, and sometimes I need to perform and can't cancel when I'm sick, and this stuff has kind of saved my butt in those situations. However, these remedies are also very useful to people who are not singers as well and just want to get better quickly. These remedies will work for you as well. The other thing I will say is that a lot of these remedies are great for seasonal allergies too. Without further ado, let's get started. I cannot wait to start feeling better already. First up, Manuka Honey. Maybe some of you already know what Manuka Honey is. For those of you who don't know what Manuka Honey is, you might be wondering right now, what's the difference between Manuka Honey and regular honey? And boo-boo, I got you. So Manuka Honey comes from the Manuka plant, which is native to New Zealand and Australia. It's imported from there, which means that if you don't live in New Zealand or Australia, this stuff can be a bit expensive depending on where you buy it. But Manuka Honey contains a certain compound. It's that compound that sets Manuka Honey apart from regular honey and is seen to have some good medicinal qualities. Before you start trashing natural medicine, which Manuka Honey is an example of, I would absolutely encourage you to try this first. This has saved me so many times when I've had a sore throat, especially back when I used to have my tonsils in. I got my tonsils out when I was 22. This stuff saves my butt every time. If you have nasal congestion with your cold, which I do at the moment, mix this stuff in with some hot water and lemon or with your favorite tea. It is a lifesaver. I cannot encourage this stuff more than I already have. It is fantastic. What brand you get doesn't really matter, but it can be quite expensive depending on where you buy it. I have seen it at Whole Foods, and it's like a small little jar like this for $50. I got this bigger one at Costco, and I have gotten bigger jars at a local health food store, like a smaller one nearby in my neighborhood, so I would encourage you to look at those places first. But this stuff is probably my number one. I would absolutely recommend it, and there's no harm done. Honey's good for you. Manuka Honey is better for you, or at least I think so, and it's definitely helped me with my sore throats in the past. Manuka Honey, do it. So we move on to remedy number 2. And unfortunately, I don't have this contraption with me. I left it elsewhere because I'm a scatterbrain, but it is a personal steam inhaler. Thankfully, I do have archival footage of me using it, probably because I posted it to Instagram or something. So I will show you that footage right now. And basically, it kind of just looks like a personal oxygen mask. And essentially, there is a small reservoir on the side of the unit where you would pour in distilled water, and then you would plug it in and switch it on and just breathe. Breathe in through your mouth, breathe in through your nose. And the greatest thing about a personal steam inhaler when you're sick, and even when you're not, is that it applies direct moisture onto your vocal cords. And that is not something that you can normally do. You know, drinking water, drinking tea, these are all great for moistening the throat and the pharynx and stuff, but you're not applying direct moisture to your vocal cords. In this case, with the steam particles, you are, and it really really helps. Plus, it's completely working out the congestion in your nose too, right? It's hot steam, so it is draining. It's so gross, I know, but it's draining the mucus while it applies moisture to your vocal cords. I only bought this earlier this year, and I'm kicking myself that I didn't have one sooner because it has saved my bacon. It is amazing. I use it when I'm not sick because I do sometimes have pollen allergies and stuff, but when you're sick, very powerful tool. You can use that whenever you want, and there's really no risk. Next time you're sick, I absolutely recommend trying a steam inhaler. The one I bought was about $120, and if that is too expensive for you, there are alternatives. What you can do is just take a pot of water and put it on the stove to boil, and when it's boiling, just place a towel over your head and put your face over the steam and just inhale. It has the same kind of effect, although it's a little bit inconvenient, obviously, because you're unable to move from the stove, whereas I'm steaming while watching TV or playing video games, which is a lot more exciting. Okay, remedy number 3. This is where it gets really disgusting. Some of you may have heard of this, some of you may have not, but this is called a neti pot. It is disgusting, but stick with me for a second here. How this works is you have this chamber and you pour in room temperature water, preferably distilled, but it doesn't really have to be. And oftentimes when you buy a neti pot, it'll come with these pre-packaged solutions that you can apply to the water as well. This is essentially just a mixture of salt and baking soda, so you can make this yourself if you don't have it. Pour that into the water mix, give it a gentle stir. Now you'll see that this here has a hole. It almost just looks like a watering pot. And I guess you can say that's what it is, but it's watering a human instead of a plant. Then go over the sink. You don't want to make a mess here because this is kind of gross, but I'm not going to demonstrate, there's no water in here, but just to show you how it works, you're going to tilt over to one side and put this in one nostril, and the water will pour in and drain out of the other nostril. I know it's gross. And then you would switch and then do it to the other side as well, and then you blow your nose gently after. It is disgusting, I'm not gonna lie. It's probably my least favorite thing to do, but it does help a lot if you're feeling congested. You guys know what I'm doing tonight? Now, for those of you who are really squeamish and think that the idea of using a neti pot is disgusting, I don't blame you. There are alternatives, but I suggest you to be careful with them. Another alternative you can use to a neti pot is oh my god, I almost dropped it. A good nasal spray. Be careful with nasal sprays. Oftentimes experts encourage you to not overuse them because your sinuses can become dependent on them. It's kind of almost habit forming in a way. So be careful with nasal spray. Find a gentle, just kind of saline based one if you want to use it, and only use it if you have to. Don't use it regularly. Neti pots, on the other hand, you can shove up your nose and just let it drain as many times as you want. And that brings us to remedy number 4. This is a tea, and I mean, honestly, you can use any tea that you want. I recommend that you use an herbal tea and one that is not caffeinated, because caffeinated teas dehydrate you, which is not what you want when you're sick. The one that I use though, and I use religiously as a singer, this is called Throat Coat, which I know sounds completely inappropriate, but this is one time you will want your throat coated. It's essentially lemon echinacea with a couple other ingredients, and it really has helped me. This is probably one of the earliest remedies I've started. I probably started using this back in 2011 when I was still a baby singer. This is back when I was getting tonsillitis all the time because I didn't have my tonsils out yet and they just weren't working. So this stuff is really fantastic, and I often steep this in boiling water and then mix it with the Manuka honey that I showed you earlier. If you don't want to spend money on Manuka honey, you can just use a good old throat coat tea. This stuff you can buy at any grocery store and it's not very expensive. Or if you're feeling fancy and you really want to feel better fast, mix these two together. It is amazing. This is probably what I use the most frequently at the moment, is a mixture of these two plus the steam inhaler, and that's what I'll be doing in the next few days so that I can feel better soon. So the last remedy that I want to bring up with you before we say goodbye today is not something that I'm going to be showing on camera because it's a little bit bigger, but it's an air humidifier. So an air humidifier does exactly what it says. It makes the air in the room that it's in more humid. So I keep it in my bedroom because that's honestly where I spend most of my time. It's where I sleep. Your body does the majority of its recovering while you're sleeping. That's why I put the air humidifier in my bedroom, and also I tend to just chill there with my cat most of the time anyway. When you're sick, nothing is worse than inhaling dry air. When you're sick, you already have swollen vocal cords, you already have nasal congestion, you're already struggling to resonate as it is. The last thing that you want along with all of that is a dry throat because you're inhaling all of this dry air. It does not help the recovery process, and it will not help the way your voice sounds either. Nor will it help your recovery. I mean, it's just not good. So if you are able to buy an air humidifier, I absolutely recommend it because it'll keep things as moist as possible while your body's trying to fight off whatever you have. It'll keep you sounding as resonant as possible. An air humidifier alone isn't going to fix your problems, but it is very, very helpful. Humid air is good air, I always say. Well, that has been it, Scaccia Fam. Those are just some of the remedies that I use to feel better, especially if I have a performance coming up where I can't avoid it, I can't cancel it, and that does happen. You know, they do say the show must go on, and sometimes it really must go on. I hope you found this video helpful. I'm sure maybe a lot of these are tips that you've already heard before. This is what I personally enjoy using as a singer, and so you might enjoy using too, even if you're not a singer. If you did like this video, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. I upload new videos every week. Make sure you smash that like button, comment, and share. We are 18,000 Scaccia Fam strong, and I am so grateful for all of your love and support. I'm going to get to all of these remedies in the next few days so that this weekend I will be feeling well enough to record a song for you. Thank you guys all so much for the support for my last few songs. I just can't wait to keep making content for you guys. And let me know if you like these non-singing videos as well. I've done a couple of them, so just let me know. I enjoy talking to you guys and letting you know a little bit more about me and the things that I do outside of singing. So I hope that this video helps some of you who are sick. Take care, Scaccia Fam, and I will see y'all next week with another video. Bye.